Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to explore how Feng Shui fits into interior design. I love this question because I think it is a layer of conversation that we're not having today with so many fabulous YouTube interior design influencers have great ideas, but we can up it just a notch and give it more meaning by understanding how Feng Shui works and how to put it into our homes. And we're going to do that by looking through one of my favorite, now discontinued magazines, Blueprint. It's from 2007, so it's 18 years old. And I think we have a lot that we can learn from it. But first, let me tell you who I am. Hi. My name's Erica Meyer, and I am an architect and a Feng Shui enthusiast. I've used it in my home for the last 15 years. It is a great system and language that you can add into your own interior design practice to give more meaning into certain sectors of your home that enhance your dreams and also align with the sun. That was the key element once I figured out that these areas of prosperity and purpose and health and relationships also tied into how the sun crosses the sky. It gave me what I needed, and that's what I want to share with you. So, before we get into the magazine, let me just do a quick recap of Feng Shui. It is an ancient Chinese practice. First, it was used to site the emperor's palace. He sent out some guys to figure out where's the best place to put the next palace. And with all good systems that are successful, it definitely got more and more complicated and involved over time, where the original Feng Shui was trying to figure out the best placement. Now we use best placement practices, but we can also use the 9-square grid, which is called a bagua, to enhance these 9 different sectors of our lives, which I love. So if you've ever taken a self-help course or read a book or listened to different podcasts where we are trying to increase our awareness to bring more abundant prosperity and love into our life, this is another way that you can add that layer into your home because of the 5 elements. And that's how it ties into interior design. So there are 5 elements which represent different types of energies in our home and within materials. And so these 5 energies or elements there are 3 in the bagua that are for earth. Earth is a very stable, hopefully neutral energy that is represented by the soft neutral colors and browns and beiges. From a color standpoint, from a pattern standpoint, it's squares and horizontal lines and nice rough textures, earth, solid foundations. And then in the north, we have the element of water, which is deep and flowing. It flows down, and it's represented by dark blues and blacks and wavy lines. And then on the opposite side of the 9-square grid is the fire element and energy. It glows and radiates and consumes and is passionate. And it's represented by the bright red, orange, yellow colors and triangles. Our 4th element is growth. It's represented by green and vertical stripe patterns. And then on the flip side of the bagua, on the western side, is the element of metal. And that energy is discerning and decisive, strategic, represented by circles and the colors gray and white, and obviously a shiny finish. There's an anchor element for each area of this 9-square grid, but we want to skillfully add in all of the other elements because we don't want to get it to like one lopsided. So via the magazine, I will start to point out objects or patterns that have these elements. And then later in the magazine, we'll get to see a cute little cottage. So stay tuned. Let's begin. So Blueprint, this is the summer issue from 2007, so 18 years old. I'm so happy that I saved these magazines. They've survived through some major moving and editing of lots of other magazines. So I'm really happy that these, and they are very happy interior design magazines, as this young lady. And magazines also they're the original influencer. It's the bundle of influencer, retail, like your department store. It covers everything. It's a mall in paper. And as you can see, so many ads, but they were very quiet ads and sometimes inspiring. And we'll stop right here to check out this 2-page spread with the colors. Green represents growth. And then we have the water element, which is flexibility and purpose. This lighter blue is often used for growth as well, to water those plants. This tomato red and this really cooling blue is a great contrast to the green on the outside. And think of how many celebrations during the summer have red, white, and blue, and that nice contrast against the green trees. And then I also wanted to stop here on this ad for the Container Store, not sponsored, of course, but the pattern and the colors chosen here represent growth. So this would be a really nice set to have in your office if you're looking to grow your business. Thought that was very excellent. More ads and some cute ideas as we go along. And here's Martha, and then her daughter, Alexis and Jennifer. I used to listen to them on Sirius. They were hilarious. And Martha is stunning as always, cool sunglasses. And this was how we were quietly influenced back in the day. This magazine was geared for the mid-20s to late 30s, those who are getting married. So lots of bridesmaid references for that younger professional women. Setting up their homes, setting up their summer travel, setting up their outdoor spaces. Want to stop here at this page, which is another advertisement for paint at Home Depot. But this is a great representation of an entryway. The ideal placement for an entryway is in the south to get all that good warm energy if you're in the northern hemisphere. And the colors are the bright reds, yellows, oranges. It's a little too on the nose. You can tone that all down. The vertical stripes, which represent growth. And the south sector is reputation and your fame. So if you are looking to grow that, go with that big, bold pattern or vertical pattern. Or you could do something much more subtle. The idea is that it uplifts your soul as you're walking into the house. Then on the floor, we can see just a checkered pattern, which is a square pattern, again, representing earth. So nice, strong foundation when you're walking into this entryway. Again, go ahead and tone down the colors if they're not for you. This one, Chaos Theories. And, they're trying to control the chaos, but I think this is still just too much visual chaos going on. I get what they were trying to do, but I think it would be better served to get it in a drawer. There are occasions where it's good to have it out, a little bit of organization, perhaps as a drop zone coming into your home or apartment, but it's still a little messy. On to the next page where we come to Martha Stewart's colors. I love this image with fire, water, growth, earth, and the center is the metal, lighter metal colors. It's not in a typical Feng Shui order, but that does not matter. It's got all those elements in there. And it's a nice way to see how they can start working together. Here we get into, it's an article, but it's really about, being exposed to different, that's cute, right? Being exposed to new product. And here's a cute little family and their home studio. So cute. I mean, is this 18 years ago? I mean, it doesn't seem like it. A piece on tennis, cute, super cute tennis outfit. Tennis, 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 and adds a little bit of hairstyle for the summer, keeping it off your neck, which, gosh, I wish I had put my hair up today. And then saving face, which is obviously about facial products. And here we can see this is the paper influence of yesteryear. And then commercials and commercials, quiet commercials. Let's stop here. It's a nice representation of earth element, that very earthy color with the squares, those strong foundation building blocks. And yeah, it's great. And then some cute shoes, couple pages of cute shoes for inspiration. Let's stop. Again, I guess I'm more influenced by commercials than I realize. They show all of the different variations of colors that you can spray paint an object to get a little bit of growth in that particular room. Growth is often represented by plants, but if it's not the right corner of the house, like a plant would die, you don't want to put a plant there, paint something green maybe, if it works. If it doesn't feel right, definitely don't do it, but it could be really fun. Then we got a little handbook thing that you could pull out, but I didn't, about grilling, if you need some grilling tips. And then here is like the bulk of the issue, the summer rollout. So we're going to get into some wallpaper. But first, this cute cottage out on Long Island to Greenpoint. And this first image right here is really nicely well balanced in having pops of red, green for growth, and then the light. It's a little heavy on the growth side, but nicely balanced with the red. And they're just pillows too. So if it's not working right, and maybe a lot of this is staged, you can move it around. And then I also want to point out this single portrait. Now, in Feng Shui, if you are looking for love, you don't want a single portrait. You would want artwork that represents two people somehow. There's this other really pretty portrait. Maybe it's a self-portrait. There are different seasons of our life. And if you are looking to strengthen that inner child, then that might be the right artwork. But if looking for a partner, get pictures of two. It's your interpretation of what your ideals. If you look at an object and it starts evoking, that is what I want in my future, you got the right object. Cute kitchen. We know from color psychology that yellow enhances appetites. And then if you're out by the beach or the lake or whatever for the summer, a little summer getaway, and it's pouring rain, what better to have this adorable, happy yellow kitchen with a nice mix of the different palettes and colors. So white for metal, this blue for growth, and greens. The yellow, it does have both an earth quality and a fire quality because of the particular tone. And then just a cool little detail of this nice antique sink that they couldn't get it quite finished. It was still rusting no matter what they did. So they just did this beautiful little red line detail. Nicely done. Okay. And then not a lot of bedroom space, but we can see nice soothing pink sheets, a little fiery red. I feel like I may have had that red quilt at some point. That's crazy. No lamp. No place to plug your stuff, and it looks like the staging was moved around. Here, this is the appropriate bedside lamp, like nice scale, minus the stuff, and hopefully the other side of the bed is equal. So partnership, if you're looking for love and relationships and you want to speak that into your home, get things of two. And this is, again, a nice combination of earth with the square, fire with the colors, and then seating for two, and a beautiful outdoor, it's plenty green on the outside. And then on to a baby shower. And these little babies are probably in college now. So now this gray, that as a society, we went a little overboard on that gray. But if it's used in the West and Northwest, it's actually aligned with the element energy. So it could be, and it's got this fun pop of orange to balance it out, and with some green growth and maybe a little bit more blue. These colors, it can be balanced. So you don't need to get rid of everything gray. On this next page, we've got wallpaper. And wallpaper, it seems like it comes and goes. And I think it's because wallpaper is expensive and difficult to install. So it does make us skittish to what is the best pattern so I can enjoy it for the most amount of time. This is a nice, strong foundation. It's earth, that horizontal. It's nicely balanced, I think, and it needs a little growth, a little pop of energy, but it also could be in someone's bedroom, which would be nice and soothing. Although, I take that back. If this were in someone's bedroom, you would feel like you're sleeping underground, and that would be dead. So no, I'm going to say no for this in the bed. Here we have an obvious entranceway with a bright, welcoming yellow. And sconces, this is an interesting way of making them larger in the space. I'm not crazy about the pattern particularly, but it's sparking ideas. And especially if you have a sconce, it gets you thinking. And that is what makes home interior design fun, is that you've come up with this creative solution. And then if it's also adding to enhance the certain sector of your purpose or your helpful people, or in the Northeast, your spirituality and knowledge, that's the wisdom corner, that could be great. Doors with wallpaper, we don't see that a lot. Having something that is moving that people are touching often probably is why we don't see wallpaper on more doors, because it's a maintenance issue. This is an interesting horizontal band, not as earth heavy. It's got the growth pattern to it. My only concern with this is that you don't see a baseboard here. This was probably taken in the studio, but if it had a baseboard and if there's any irregularity in your wall, that might show up. So you could hide it with some trim, easy, but then you won't be able to hang that mirror. So again, just knowing your space, going with the flow, be flexible, make mistakes and correct them and do it again. That's the fun of it, watching your space evolve over time. Now, in Feng Shui, having a headboard is really important for that couple, for that stability. They don't recommend the open ones or metal. Like a nice heavy padded headboard is great. And so because of that and this kind of light, airy pattern, it's not something that I would necessarily recommend. I would go for something a little deeper and maybe either a different pattern or just go with paint if for some reason you can't get a headboard. It's the symbolism that's important. Here we have a lot of these wallpapers you can still buy today. I'm pretty sure I actually have a sample of this. Here we have a grid, which is earth, but with fire and growth. Horizontal stripes. Well, if it's horizontal, then it's earth. If you flip that vertical, it's growth. We've got growth and lots of fire, and this one, very organic, so that's growth again. Animals are typically fire because they're alive, but they're obviously in water and they're bright red eyes. We'll see. Continuing on with the summer, the blue and the red. The blue and the red. Let's have a dinner party this summer outside. Very pretty. Recipes. And of course, Martha's food is fabulous. And then a little bit of fashion right here at the end with denim. Again, blue and red. Blue for cool down the summer. Look at how cute this everybody is. I love this top here. It's a little translucent. Super cute little pop of red with this chair. Take a look at this. Here's a crazy detail. Yes, there's a couple places with a .com, but there's a couple places that only have a phone number. You had to call. What? You had to call. And you can't zoom in on this. You just have to bring it closer to your face. That's how we old school zoom. And then this is an old school scrolling, which is kind of fun. You just have to read down and then go to the next column. Doom scrolling. It's not doom reading, but I loved reading every single word on these 2 pages. And then just a couple other things about what was going on that summer. The best art and music and books to read by the beach. Look at this. It costs $12 for 6 issues. Crazy. And then Meet the Parents. Martha Stewart flowers. So beautiful, right? And then Portland, Maine. Some more ads for Eat All You Want. Right. And that's it for today. So I hope you have enjoyed looking at this blueprint magazine with me. I hope we've started to give a little bit more information on how Feng Shui just adds another layer of meaning into your home. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend, and I'll be back next week with another magazine.